Welcome back to 10 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie Brown. Across from me is my co-host, Adam Nielsen. And I'm already hitting the mic because I don't know how to do this anymore.
They've come to expect no less. Or
I
more.
fucking
Or
do this however
more.
I feel like it.
Or more, I guess.
Yeah. I like podcasting, but only when I want to do it, and only when I do it my way.
Right.
That's how I feel about this.
Although sometimes I still feel like I'm doing this
Obligation.
out of obligation, not out of desire.
That's how I feel about 80% of the things I do in my life right now. I've never...
Oh, I wish it was that low.
I don't know...
Try having kids, Robert.
That was the point I was about to make. I was like, I don't know how fucking anyone does this for kids. I don't.
It's the worst.
I feel so just burned out on life. All like my projects and stuff like at the house are like ready to go. Everything's fine, but like I go to work and I feel like I'm drowning. And then I go home and I can think about all the fact that I just drowned for the last 8 hours. And like. The gym is my escape, which of course by the time I'm done there, I'm fucking exhausted. But it's a good thing because then it's like that release, I guess. But like, why am I so fucking overwhelmed? Is everybody overwhelmed right now?
Yes.
It feels like everyone's overwhelmed.
Anybody who's not overwhelmed is doing something really
right. They're doing something right.
No, wrong. They're doing something wrong, and chances are that their lack of being overwhelmed is causing somebody else even more stress, anxiety, and being overwhelmed.
That's probably fair.
So,
we joke that the meth heads have it figured out because they don't have a care in the world. But man, adulting sucks. This sucks.
yeah.
I say that as I applied or interviewed for another job on Monday, which would be exceedingly more responsibilities and exceedingly more amount of my time.
An accordingly larger amount of money.
I highly doubt it's exceedingly, but it should be a raise. Yeah, it'd be a whole pay grade jump. So.
But is it worth it?
Based on my experience of becoming an adult and getting a job and getting an education, no, it's not worth it,
right.
Adam.
That's fair. I'm glad that we're on the same page, Robbie.
Yep.
So far, every move forward I've made in my career has not been worth it.
More money, more problems is what they say. I mean, Jason will tell you otherwise, but.
He's an anomaly.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I've never been more content to just come home, turn on iRacing, or if I'm feeling like that's too much effort, the old PlayStation 3, I get it, man. Like people that just want to go do video games and shit right now. I hear you.
Being a video gamer seems like a really good route. That seems like the most reasonable hobby.
Yep.
That I could have chosen.
Yeah. No, I've definitely gotten way into iRacing more in the last month or so. I've done more iRacing, more dedicated, understanding the mistakes I'm making. I've improved leaps and bounds in the last month. But then again, when I'm not improving, I get really frustrated, and then I'm back to being overwhelmed again. I can't even do this right, and this is a fun hobby.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough bitching.
No.
Actually, this entire episode is gonna be bitching.
We're gonna bitch. We're gonna bitch some more, and then a little bit more, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yep. I do have some not bitching stuff though. So last week. Or the week, whatever the hell week we had a podcast, because we did it on our terms when I felt like it.
I was too busy being sick last week. It was awful.
That's true. So a couple weeks ago, we did a show, and I talked about we got the Z all wired up, and we were working on the bass tune and stuff. And I had called Australia, and we figured out that my degrees from Top Dead Center were in a goofy spot, and we figured out why. And of course, we figured out why, the day after we recorded, but before it released. So, so everyone's hearing me talk about this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to, I want to edit that part out because I know it's all wrong.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So, but the funny part was, of the people that listened, probably one other person, maybe two other people knew what the fuck I was even talking about. So,
right.
But the reason my degrees from Top Dead Center were so goofy was because the R3 gives you one pre-done flying lead for a cam sensor.
Okay.
And the Bank 2 cam sensor is much more accessible because I have the Pathfinder cooling mod on it. So that puts the cooling sensor right next to the cam sensor, and those connectors kind of touch, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm like, I'm just not even going to deal with it. I only need one cam sensor, which of course was wrong on my part. So I wired in.
Shocker.
I wired in that cam sensor.
Oh, you mean the easy route was not the correct one?
That's
never the case, Robbie.
So once we dove into it and realized the reason it was 360 out was because it was basing it off of the Bank 2 cam sensor when it was looking for the Bank 1 cam sensor. So the reason we really figured this out was because the VVT stuff needs both cam signals. So Bank 1 pulls from that main signal, and Bank 2 has to be wired in on its own. So I had to take another input-output and make that a cam sensor signal. Then I'm like, shit. Like I'm reevaluating where I'm putting my inputs and outputs on the thing. And I realized that like the input for like the clutch signal or like the brake signal for like doing flat shifting and like auto blip, that type of stuff.
Jesus Christ.
So I realized like, well, I can just use my spare injectors, those wires, because it comes with 8. I only need 6.
Okay.
So you can use those as inputs. As just generics. So like you can just adjust it and make it a generic input. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just move those to that. I will wire in the second cam sensor. I'll move the other cam sensor over. Of course, I had to change the connectors. So then I got my cam sensors wired in, both of them. I got my VVTs wired in correctly. Both of them were working.
Okay.
I readjusted my my inputs for my brake and my clutch.
Okay.
Which left me with 2 more inputs that I wasn't using, which now means I have all 4 speed sensors wired in. I no longer have any spare inputs and outputs.
Remember when you're like, man, this thing's got so many inputs and outputs. What am I going to do with all of them?
I used them all.
And now you're like, man, I could use 6 more.
That's the problem too, because like you have the R3, which has a fair amount of inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
And then you got the R5, which is like 6 times as many.
Right.
So like, if I had gone to the R5, I would have used like
they need like an R4 that's somewhere in the middle.
But yeah, so we got.
Take that to note, Haltech.
Yep.
If you're listening.
But I don't know, the VQ has a bunch of like weird stuff, and then of course I'm asking it to do literally everything because I want it to have,
I mean, you can, so why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Yeah, and like it's just the number of inputs and outputs, like so you got 2 going to and from the pedal, 2 going to and from the throttle body.
Right.
So it's just you end up using up a lot right away.
Yeah.
Whereas like on a traditional car, you don't probably only need 1 of each or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. There's so many different sensors and things on the VQ that it did add up really fast.
Right.
So I mean, had we known what we know now, we might have just gone to the R5 and been done with it. Then just had a shitload of spare inputs and outputs. But
you'd find a use for them
eventually, and they are Haltech's coming out with an upgrade that will make it so that you can use the dash as additional inputs and outputs, because that has like 30 wires that I only use like 4 of them.
Right.
So like if you don't have a standalone setup, you can use all those signals. Well, right now they're all predefined. The next firmware update is going to have them so you can customize them.
Okay.
So then I think that software is going to be incorporated into the NSP software that you do all the tuning with.
Okay.
So you can basically customize your dash, redefine all the outputs and inputs, have that go straight, and then all that'll be canned straight into the R3. So I really like the direction they're going. And then they also put out a survey the other day, and one of the questions was like, what capability does like your dash not have that you wish it had? And one of the options was like logging and like track data.
It's like
that's the one thing you're missing, Haltech.
I can't believe that they don't. Like that's what you need a dash for.
This was the one thing that I talked to Andrew about that I was hoping that there was a future like that they were working on, and I was like, my iPhone overheats really bad. Anything above 95 degrees, it overheats.
Right.
I can't use it and have it on.
Right.
So I actually bought like an old, what's it called? The Xcover Pro cell phone.
Okay.
It's the last rugged Samsung that they made.
Okay.
And it can handle 165 degrees. So now I have a dash that can display my.
So that will run the latest version.
It does.
Of
It does.
Apex Pro.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it has Android 13 on it, and I think I need at least Android 7.
Oh,
So we're good. Yeah, more than good there.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was one of the things that Haltech said that they wanted was, or like put out as a suggestion. I'm really hoping everyone that's taken that survey says the same thing. Like,
I can't imagine that's not a very an overwhelming majority of people that want that.
yes, but like that's the point I was trying to make was that like Apex Pro could really use a dash that can handle the heat.
Right.
That you could just be dedicated to that. Like you sync it to your Apex Pro. It shows all the stuff that your app shows. Haltech needs that. That seems like a great synergy team setup there. But yeah, so I'm really hoping that the overwhelming majority says that, yeah, we want track data.
Yeah.
And the software's fully capable, or the hardware's fully capable of it. You just need to add the GPS to it, and a firmware update would do it.
Right.
So I think, if enough people tell them, I'm sure it's in the future, which is why I wanted an AIM dash originally, but I just couldn't justify the price.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, it's like $2,500 for the even remotely close to the one you want.
Right.
So yeah, I got this dash, and luckily I think the future will include all the track data stuff that I want.
I can't imagine it doesn't.
And I got the Apex Pro. I mean, so it's not like I'm
in the dark.
Yeah, I'm not struggling here.
Right. Probably a lot more than you're even using now.
What's that?
There's probably a lot more than you're even using it for now.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
We, as a paddock space, our little group, we're not very good about even using the data tools that are provided to us.
Yeah. I'm getting better. I am getting better.
I think, last year at Road America, or Gingerman, what was the point?
Yeah, there's no
You
reason.
had bigger fish to fry.
Getting the car to run was really
Right.
more important.
Yeah.
So that's what sucks is I have Fire Laps. So it's I upload the.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
If I upload, I really don't have great data.
Right. It's not worth it. at
Last
this
year
point.
I had nothing but shit data.
Right.
So, but yeah. So I do have some 2020. I had some pretty good data. So, but of course the car's developed way beyond that.
Hopefully both you and the car have developed
I would hope so.
beyond where you were at 4 years ago.
I would hope so. But yeah. Yeah, so the car's in a good spot. Yeah, it's ready for some remote tuning, like street tuning, and then we'll do some final dialings.
You have a test day option now, Robbie.
Yeah, not RP, I-29 Speedway.
I refuse to call it anything but ma'am. It's ma'am.
That's fine.
They can call it whatever they want. It's Mid-America Motorplex.
Yep. So we kind of have a plan in place because I'm going to do some just real basic stuff to verify that things are working the way it's supposed to. Do some data logging. He'll do some more minor tuning stuff. He'll either fly out here and spend a couple days just doing street stuff, just verifying everything's working like it's supposed to.
Doing some street sharking.
Do some street sharking.
Hell yeah.
That way, if anything
Some
needs
interstate
to be,
pulls.
Yeah, if anything needs to be rewired or redone, I can do it here rather than having him do it out in Dayton. So hopefully we'll do that. And I'll eventually bring it out to him so that he can do the final tuning. I'll just dial everything in, and then I was talking to Clayton, and then Mid Ohio does these almost like Track Night in America days.
Yeah,
but I don't know what they actually call them.
Yeah.
I should know considering how he sent me the link to it, but I don't remember. But so the idea would be, to do one of those test days with him while the car is out in Ohio, or Jason talked about renting Gingerman, so try to time that around the same. If that doesn't work, then of course I would hope that anyone local that rents the track for test days reach out to me. I'll definitely take advantage of it.
Fast Fridays or Sunday Fun Days now because they're options now at least.
Yes, that doesn't start till May though.
Our local track, if you will, in Omaha, new ownership.
Yep.
They seem to be putting money into the road course and not just the drag strip, which is a pleasant change of pace.
Yes.
And pre-COVID, they used to have Fast Fridays, which you had to have they called it a license. There was some sort of approval process in order to run a Fast Friday.
Yeah, I've never done their schooling, but I would hope at this point I could be like, all right, here's all of the things I've done.
And then they had Sunday Fun Days, which they have a short course option.
Oh yeah,
that they ran on Sunday Fun Day.
Yep.
And it was only, I think it was like
$60.
Yeah, it was like $65 for like 4 20-minute sessions or something.
No, it's open lapping, dude.
Is it open?
It's open lapping.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's a great way to get testing in. So I'll absolutely take advantage of that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all coming together.
Look at us.
Heck yeah. But you know what didn't come together? Buying a new car. And
I mean, there's so many things, Robbie. Like, where would you like me to start? I don't think that we talked about the fact that you bought a brand new car.
No, we didn't talk about it at all. So right before Christmas, Jess has wanted to replace her Edge since always.
Yeah, like, I feel like that's been a thing since
she's ever had it.
Right, since she came into your life, at least.
Yep. So it really picked up steam once we moved out here, and then the first year that she's got those big 22s on it,
right?
So they only sold like summer tires. And they finally started selling all seasons, which they're still terrible,
right?
But that first winter where she got stuck in the ditch, where she couldn't make it up the hill and just kind of like slid down and over to the side,
been there.
That was when it really kind of picked up steam. Like, I hate this car. I need something different.
Also, that intersection right now,
sketchy,
unfucking drivable, Robbie.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
What the fuck?
I'm not in charge of this.
Well, you should be.
I refuse to have any sort of authority. No more anythings. I got no more responsibilities outside the responsibilities I've already signed.
You need to buy a road grader or something, Robbie. Shit's out of control.
Somebody does. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Well, they just put a bunch of gravel down.
Well, they did a piss poor job of it.
No, they really did. I think a bunch more is coming. So I bought myself some time by getting winter, like special set of wheels.
Yep.
And snow tires.
Yep.
And proof to Jess that she does not, in fact, need a 4-wheel drive.
Because 4-wheel drive with 4 shitty tires is still
shitty.
So now you're spinning all 4 tires instead of just 2.
Yep. So I bought some time by getting winter wheels and tires, and finally, like, the Edge was starting to wear out to the point where it's like, it's going to let us down eventually. It's been good, but it's not going to stay this way.
Right.
So she's been looking at the new Ford Bronco Sports, not the full-size Bronco.
Right.
So right before Christmas, Ford had a deal where if you bought the new 2023 model, because like they were trying to get rid of the 23s, you could get it for 1.9% APR or 1.9% financing for the whole term,
right?
The whole thing,
which is ridiculous.
Yep. And then they had like the Christmas sale, so you had like it was like $4,000 off the price. You know, whatever. It was still an expensive car, but well, I guess we're an open book. Fuck, it was like $36,000 or whatever.
It's by new car standards, it's not that bad.
It's really not,
which is sad.
Yeah, it's expensive as fuck. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So she finally broke me down enough that I just said, fuck it, just do it.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
Yep, that's kind of how it went. I was like, I had told her, I do not want you to buy a car in the fall or the winter.
Right.
I don't want to buy a new car just to have you fucking drive it into the ditch.
Right.
And of course, she's like, oh, it won't happen, whatever. So we bought this right before Christmas. Yeah, like literally no fucking miles.
I haven't even seen the thing.
Yeah, oh really? Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Oh, well, you're never going to see that one again. So
foreshadowing.
Yeah. So yeah, we had it probably 2 weeks of December, 1 week of December, all of January, almost all of January. So then we had that last big snowstorm in January, and
we just got stomped. We got like
8 inches in like 3 hours or something stupid.
The second largest amount of snow over a 10-day period ever in the history that we've been recording such statistics.
Yes. So that wasn't the problem. The problem was they do such a shitty job of getting to plowing our roads, so that I made it to work in the truck, no problem. But like there was like 8-inch deep drifts and stuff all over the place. So the roads were shit. But when they do finally grade them or plow them, it's already after like 100 people have driven on them.
Right.
So it's just a sheet of ice at that point.
Uh-huh.
So we made it through the snowstorms, no problem. Made it through the weekend after that. And then I think it was that Monday or Tuesday after the storms, it rained.
Yep.
So I was already at work. The roads were shit early that morning, but it was like freezing cold and just properly frozen. So it's slippery, but not that slippery. Made it to work fine. So Jess wakes up, had the day off. I was like, she's going to go get groceries, run some errands. So that way, by the time I get off work, all that shit's taken care of.
Right.
She could not have timed it worse. So like there was probably a window between like 10 and noon where it was just like raining just enough that there was just a sheet of water on top of the sheet of ice everywhere.
Yeah, it was sketchy out.
And it was basically travel not advised. And, hindsight being what it is, she should have looked it up or whatever. But I made it work just fine. So she's like, thought she'd do it. So she leaves here and then goes to that gravel road, which does a T intersection with the main gravel road. And so that it's actually at like
a downhill right into the stop sign.
Yep.
It's so bad.
And then where that stop sign ends at that T intersection is basically a 30-foot drop into a creek.
Uh-huh.
So almost every year that we've been here, somebody has gone off there at least once every season.
Right.
Some kid actually blew through it during the summer one time. I think he just got lost where he was and just never hit the brakes.
Oof.
He got hurt, real hurt.
Yeah.
So what happened was Jess took off, got to the top of that little hill, went to hit her brakes like she normally does. Still convinced she had a little bit too much speed and too much confidence because she had a 4-wheel drive car like I told her she would. Hit her brakes and immediately sped up because there was zero grip whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's, could have either tried to go into the ditch to the right, whatever. Ended up going basically straight off through the intersection.
So that's where she was, is like just down at the bottom of the T.
That's all the further she got.
I didn't know where. I have driven back through here a couple of times and always tried to figure like where. Let's see.
Yep. Yeah, just straight through that.
Now
So she went slightly to the left and went head first into a tree, so it damaged the shit out of the driver's side. That spun it around, so then the quarter panel on the passenger side slammed up into another tree, and then it backed into the creek. So, side curtain airbag went off, and the foot airbag, not the steering wheel though, which is really weird. And then so that it automatically calls the cops, which is a nice feature.
I suppose.
But of course, it's so shitty. The fire department and the ambulance can't make it up the hill to her.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But I think the cop made it to her. That the cop car could make it. So he came and helped her out of the car. She was okay, but obviously like in a panic.
Right. Shooken up real bad.
Very shooken up. So they got her out, got her stuff out of the car. Obviously couldn't tow it out. And then they actually came and graded the roads that night or that afternoon. And I think probably because the cops made a big deal out of it because, hey,
probably.
We have our own vehicles in the fucking ditch. Do something about this.
Right.
So then we called our insurance company and they go through we'll take a step back. So I had never totaled the vehicle before or had any serious accident like this before. I had a fender bender once.
Yep. Same.
Which is what much smaller deal. You just make one phone call and it's all taken care of. It's whatever. Because I didn't have any damage. I didn't fix anything, so it was whatever. So called my insurance company that night, started filing the claim, answered all the questions they had, got the police report, I got everything to them that I needed. So they kind of walked me through it and then explained to them where the car was. And so it was hard to explain. So then luckily they have on the app or in order to record the conversation, you basically text back and forth once the initial stuff's taken care of. So you're working with your claims adjuster. So we were texting back and forth and I was like, I just pinned it on Google Maps. I was like, it's right here. And I sent it to him.
No, like seriously.
Here.
Like not I didn't fat finger this and put it a ways off the road and it's just right there on the edge. Right there. It's clear the fuck out here.
Yep. It's like, well, what's the closest address? I was like, there's no fucking closest address. it's a quarter of a mile up the road is the closest address.
Right.
It's right fucking here. Latitude and longitude, right fucking here.
Right.
And I tried not to be an asshole about it.
Right.
I mean, I failed, but I tried.
We've been there.
Yeah. So then what they do is they go and get a hold of a tow company broker, for lack of a better term, so like I'm talking to somebody based out of Pennsylvania, who is then telling somebody based out of Arizona, who then calls the local tow companies to get them to pull my vehicle out. And I'm sure 9 times out of 10 when they go and do this, it's a car on a real road.
Yeah.
And they pay them $55.
Which is not enough. Even if it is, like, at today's labor rates,
no,
you can't make any money on a $55 tow.
No.
Unless it's literally across the street from the shop and all you're doing is taking it back to the shop, you're going to lose money on that. I don't understand how that's possible.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. So the next day, no, wasn't the right next day. Whatever, a couple days later. Tow company comes out. I meet him there. It's still super soupy out and gross because it's still wet. Things are thawing, but there's still a lot of moisture on the ground. So I explained to them the situation. Couldn't have been more descriptive on this where the car was. The claims adjuster did the exact same thing, relayed all the information to that broker, or I don't know what we would even call him, distributor,
right?
Dispatcher, who then told the local company the situation. So they send out somebody. And I'm like, bring the biggest motherfucker you got. Like, it's not that hard.
I'm sure that they've been told that a million times, though.
I was like, whatever you would bring to tip a semi over back onto its side, bring that. I'm telling you, that's what you want.
No, it's not that bad. This guy doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. He's just some rich kid in his fancy house. Look at all those houses over there. They're all big and fancy and lakefront.
Yep. So of
with
course,
his brand new Bronco.
So of course they have us tell them the address, which of course is not even close. So they go to the address. So then they call me and like, hey, I'm here. Where's the car? I'm like, you passed it. It's down in the fucking creek.
Right.
Like I'm here waiting. If you see the pickups on the side of the road, that's me. It's 30 feet that way. So I'm waiting and I'm explaining to the guy how to get there, and he comes back over the hill. It's the dinkiest little rollback he ever did see.
A rollback, even.
Yep.
Jesus
not
Christ.
even a proper tow vehicle. And he pulls up and he takes one look at it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna get that out." No shit.
I said that.
I told you this was like I explicitly said, send your big guy, and you sent me your little guy. So then he's like, "Wow, we can try." I'm like, "You're certainly welcome to." Like, I mean, we both know how
it's
this.
You're $55, so whatever, man.
So then he gets real weird about like getting paid, and like I'm to the point where like I'll pay you cash. I don't care, whatever it costs.
Yeah. I just need this thing out of the hole.
So then he's like, I'm on the phone with my claims adjuster, who then I hand the phone to him, and they argue with each other over a while. Like, it's like, no, just pull it out. You're going to get paid. It doesn't matter. He's like, we'll have to come back with a bigger one. Leaves. I bet it was not even a half hour later, I get a text saying that my, this happens multiple times. So
there was like 6 tow trucks, so it's hard to keep track.
So I can't remember what I got first. I think they canceled it. I got a text saying they had canceled the tow. And then the dispatch called me and asked if it was done. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? No, it's not done."
Right. And
then I explained to them what happened. And like, "Okay, we'll take care of it." And I get a text saying, "Tow company X, Y, and Z is on their way. They'll be there in an hour." Not even like less than an hour later, I get a text message saying, "Tow company X, Y, and Z has canceled it." And it's like 6, 7 o'clock already. I'm like, all right, fuck, we'll deal with this tomorrow. Yep. So then I get a hold of my claims adjuster the next day. I was like, all right, we're 0 for 2 right now. So, short story long, my insurance company sent out 5 tow trucks, 2 no-showed, 3 showed up and tried, or no, only 1 tried. 1 actually tried to pull it out with no luck whatsoever. Like, he hooked up, it was just pulling his tow truck back into the ditch, basically. He tried a different angle, no luck. I wasn't there for that, Jess was. Luck, I don't know, maybe Jess was like nicer to him that he actually tried, because like, he's like, they're not
No, it's because she's a girl, Robbie.
Yep.
So he tried for her.
And I was fine with that.
She's a blonde girl, and you're not.
Yep. So he had no luck whatsoever. Then it was like the same thing. Yeah, we'll send out the big truck, and we'll come back tomorrow or whatever. Same thing. I got a text saying, yeah, we canceled. I was like, what the fuck?
It's because they're only getting paid $55. It's not worth it.
Well, then they get paid either way. They get paid whether they pull it out or not.
I would fucking hope so.
So at this point, the Bronco has been in the ditch 7 fucking days.
Yeah, it was in there for so
7
long.
days. So like every time I talked to my claims adjuster, he started the conversation by apologizing to me, which I'm like, all right, well, at least we're getting this kind of leverage, so that's good. So, but like they're having no luck whatsoever. So I think it's the tow truck 6 that they were working on, and I was over it.
Yeah.
I have AAA. I called AAA and said, all right, here's the situation. I've tried 5 tow trucks from my insurance company.
Uh-huh.
We are 0 for 5. Please, for the love of God, listen to me when I tell you, send your big truck. Please. So they're like, okay, like I understand.
That's the best story.
I will relay the message. So so then I get a text shortly thereafter saying tow company X, Y, and Z out of Ames, which is an hour north of here, is on their way. They'll be here in an hour. Okay, actually, he was in Story City.
So my neighbor works for that company.
Yep.
And they like specialize in like big recoveries.
Sure.
That's their thing. Like they have a truck that they can pick semis
crane.
Up and set them back. Yeah, it's a crane. It's not a tow truck. It's a crane.
Yep.
But like that's what they do.
Yep.
Is like when nobody else can do it, you call Central Iowa Towing.
Yep. And we did.
Yeah.
So they show up. That's when I found out that AAA insurance companies, they pay $55 for these tows. Like if you get a AAA call, it's $55. So, which is crazy to me that they even drove from Ames anyways. But so they get
That's
there.
what I'm saying. He paid more in fuel and that guy's wages than that company made doing that. That's what I don't understand.
It made no sense to me why they even bothered. So
I would say no. I mean, I guess that's what you have to do to get work, but how do they keep their doors open?
yeah, it's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
So they show up, super helpful, super nice. However, it was getting dark because AAA did it right then and there, and then they showed up right then and there, which is what I guess you'd expect. But the guy was one of their new guys. He had never done a pull like this or like at this level. He was all for it. He's like, I'll try it. He was excited about it.
I'm sure.
But it was getting dark. His boss was like, it's his first one like this. It's getting pretty dark. We sent his boss all the pictures, so he fully knew what was going on. Explained to me how AAA is not going to pay for this. And I was like, it's been here a week. I will pay you myself. My insurance company has said they will reimburse me. I don't care what it costs. Get it out of here. So they show up the next day. It's the owner, one of their like experienced tow trucks with a legitimate towing vehicle, not the crane, but they did bring a larger one that you could put like had like a big like brace that you put on the ground, like not just feet, but like the actual towing apparatus sits on the ground. And, like, so he lined up perfectly, and like we blocked off traffic, and he had it all set up, and he just he's this 12,000-pound winch, and he yanks it out, and it's like it wouldn't go into gear, so that like it had to they literally had to drag it up.
Of course.
But the crazy thing was, once they did finally get it out, and we jumpered it, it started right up. It clearly was fucked up, but it started. So he's like, "Do you want to just drive it to your house?" I don't care. Like it's broken.
What's the worst that'll happen?
It's fine. So he's like, "It'll just save us having to hook up." I was like, "Yeah, I don't care."
Yeah.
So the steering wheel is like cocked at 90 degrees, and I'm limping it back to my place, and then of course like parking it so that it's convenient for Copart to come and get it the next day. Because of course you have to get another tow company to get it off of your property. Which of course the insurance company has to take care of.
Right.
So then of course I like park it like as conveniently located.
Did you know it was going to be totaled at this point?
It was a pretty safe bet. It was
okay.
Even the first phone call I made to our insurance company was when I described it to them, hadn't seen a picture yet. The initial claim thing said expected total loss.
Okay.
I think as soon as the airbags go off, they just assume.
Yeah, probably.
But it was crumpled like a beer can.
Well, yeah, you have hits on multiple sides of the vehicle.
Yep.
It looked to me like in one of those pictures you had up just a few minutes ago, that rear quarter panel is wrinkled.
Yeah.
Which means they're going to have to skin it. And at that point...
Yeah, the roof's wrinkled, the quarter panel's wrinkled.
Was any of the glass broken?
None of the glass broke, which was mind-blowing to me.
Does that have a roof?
Yeah, is
it all glass? Or does it have like this giant monstrous sunroof? Or is
No, it's just a regular roof.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember even had a sunroof. Honestly, I was hardly ever in that car. I don't remember if it had I don't know if it had I honestly don't remember if it had a sunroof.
Huh.
But yeah, none of the glass broke, which is I can't believe. And then like the damage up front too was not as bad as I thought it would be, but it was clearly like crumpled in a way that like even though it didn't look as bad, like the whole car was just crumpled like a beer can.
Right.
So I drove it back to my place and parked it basically in the center of my driveway away from everything just in case that it decided to self-combust, even though it'd been a week already. But
okay.
Now that we started it back up and got some power back into it, it's like that'd be my luck too. Is like
now that it's home and
now that it's parked next to my trailer, I can burn down my trailer and my shop at the same time. We'll just take this all at once, and then I can just be done here. We're done here. I'm moving.
Well, because you have such fast response rates for your fire department.
I pay extra insurance because I can't get a fast response rate. So got it there. What do you think the tow cost?
Oh man, like
out of pocket from me to move it, to pull it out, and then have me drive it a mile back to my place.
$1,200.
Okay, no, it's not that much.
No,
it was like it was $550.
Okay, I mean, but like that's what it should cost.
And
honestly, like I still feel like that's almost hard to make money on.
It was only like they were only there an hour. So,
I know, but like
I get it.
For me to show up to a job site on the clock on an hourly rate with my truck and me in it is like between $350 and $450 an hour. That's what we charge for me to be somewhere.
For sure.
And then I would have charged you a trip charge for that on top of that.
Yep. Yeah, like they had the owner, his main guy, and then another guy that was just their direction traffic.
Right.
Plus me.
Like, I just feel like, if they'd have charged you $800 to $1,000, it still is not that out of line for what they had to do and what they had to bring and the time they invested in it.
I was certainly not offended by any stretch.
Yeah.
And luckily, the insurance company was so like apologetic that like I paid for it when I was in the front seat of his car. The towing guy is the owner of the towing company.
Yeah.
Immediately emailed the receipt to my insurance company, and by the time I got my truck and got home, I'd already been reimbursed.
Sweet.
So then, so then Copart shows up the next day to take it. Then, of course, in Iowa, you need a power of an attorney, so you can't just like email all the shit to you.
Oh God!
So they had to mail it to me. So then Jess had to fill out all the paperwork, and then we had to mail it back to him. And then they just mailed another document back to me that apparently we missed. So like we still haven't been paid. But this is like the takeaway that I think that people need to know.
Yeah.
So they're going to lowball the fuck out of you. So
the insurance company. So they're going to say like, so we didn't have like gap insurance explicitly for that car. We had full coverage. So it's a 2023 Ford Bronco Sport Outer Banks edition with 2,000 miles on it. They said the value was $32,000. And sticker on that was almost 40?
Almost 40.
Okay.
So we traded in the Edge, which was worth almost nothing.
Right.
So the loan we had on it was $36,000.
Okay.
So all I wanted was at least that.
Right.
Like,
yeah. You're not looking to make money.
I'm not looking to make money.
You don't need a $45,000 check.
No.
But you do need a $36,000 check.
Yeah. And that's where I was getting real stressed. I was like, so we're going to lose the value of the Edge. I'm going to owe $3,000 on a
car I don't have anymore.
Vehicle I don't have.
And I still have to buy another vehicle.
That, with zero down.
This is going to cost me $10,000.
Yeah. It was going to be a $10,000 swing.
Right.
So we got a hold of the Ford dealership out of Newton.
Yep.
The dealer's name is Casey. So Jess got a hold of him and said, hey, here's what happened. And he's like, well, first off, you shouldn't need gap insurance. You're fine. So what they're going to do is they're going to lowball you, and then you negotiate. That's how this works. I'm like, this fucking sucks. I shouldn't have to negotiate with my insurance company.
I pay them too much money to do that already.
And I do pay a lot.
Yeah.
I got good insurance.
Like way too fucking much. It's so expensive.
Yep.
That's
between this.
I think my insurance is probably my second largest bill every month outside of obviously my mortgage.
Yep.
I think my mortgage is the only thing I pay more a month than my insurance.
I do the lump sum every August. So every August I feel fucking poor.
Way.
I feel fucking poor
There's
every
no
August.
way, Robbie. I could not do it.
Every August.
No, I pay it once a month.
So then Casey emails us like a value assessment of our actual vehicle, like actual VIN number. He's like, this is the value of your vehicle, which was like $39,900, I think. So then we send that over after they give us the $32,000 offer. I keep calling it offer, settlement or whatever they call it.
It's an offer.
Yep. So they send us 32. I respond by saying, no, that's outrageous. And then I sent them what our dealership he sent us was the value of our own car. So then we go back and forth. And then they bring it up, I think, up to 35. And then I sent them 2 vehicles that Casey had forwarded us that were almost carbon copies of what we already had.
Yeah.
And they were, again, like in the 39s. And then I sent it to them. And then they were brought it up a little bit. And then they go, well, you're allowed to, if you want to have it be a comparison of what your vehicle was, it needs to be the same make and model and year within a 100-mile radius of you. And the vehicles I had sent weren't, besides the initial value that my dealership had gave me. So then I go through, I'm like, and of course, like that exact model and year aren't actively available.
Right. Of course not.
But like, luckily there was 2 in Waukee, and I want to say there was one in like somewhere in Missouri, just south of here, within 100 miles, that were also priced at like 40. And I said it to him. I was like, okay, I have given you how many now? Like literally 5 vehicles, 3 of which are within 100 miles. Like this $33,000 offer is not acceptable.
Right.
And I think we finally settled closer to 38 by the time it was all said. 37. But of course, like now I didn't fill out the paperwork right, so I got to wait for that. But all I cared about was that the loan was paid off and that we weren't completely underwater on it. So, but yeah, so if you wreck a car, just know that you can tell them that their first offer is bullshit, and then find 5 vehicles within 100 miles of your place of residence, and then you send that to them. Then they'll reevaluate. But it's just bullshit. That has to be like,
it's too much work.
I like that's what the dealership, because we had to go back. Like we literally bought the exact same car from the same exact dealer yesterday. The only like silver lining, I guess we could say, to this is that because there was a strike last year, Ford is still taking delivery on brand new 2023 Broncos, Edges, and what's the other car? It doesn't matter. 3 cars. There's 3 cars at Ford right now that, because they're still taking delivery of brand new 23s, that they're giving a $500 rebate and a 0% interest. So instead of having a 1.9% interest, we now have a 0% interest.
I fucking hate you, Robbie.
So, but we also had to pay $39,000 for it.
Yeah, but you came out.
So it's we didn't come out behind, at least.
Yeah.
So we didn't get completely fucked.
Right.
But what a fucking hassle this month has been.
No, it clearly.
And then so it was like we go into the finance thing yesterday, and he's like, I feel like I've seen your name recently. He's like, yeah, we were here 4 weeks ago. Buying literally the exact same car.
We just love it so much. We bought 2.
Yep. So, well, yeah, but like, because we just told Casey, like, this is the car I wanted. So, like,
right.
So he literally went to Chicago and got that exact car and brought it back.
I mean, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yep. So, I mean, he went, honestly, he went up basically coaching us through how to work with the insurance company and making it so they weren't completely fucked. I mean, yeah, they got commission on 2 vehicles, but at least we didn't get completely screwed.
Huh. So I just looked up because I was trying to remember what I pay for my insurance. It's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
For some reason, I had in my head that it was like nearly $300 a month.
Oh, I hope not.
It's $196.50, which is still
that's not small.
Not a small amount, but that's for the Pacifica full coverage. The Blazer is just like liability.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like the minimum the law requires, because that's like $2 less a month than what I'm doing, and it covers a few other things. And then I have the Omni on storage, but I have to have it on my insurance because if the garage burned to the ground, they wouldn't cover the car inside of it unless it's also insured.
Yep.
So it cost me like $8 a month or something stupid.
Yep.
But then I have like a life insurance and some other stuff like that. I have an umbrella policy and so, but it's $200 a month.
Yeah, I can't really think what ours is because we got the house, all the cars.
So my house is rolled into my mortgage. It's paid on my escrow.
That would be.
I don't pay my
yes.
I don't pay my house.
Yep, the
my homeowners on my own.
Yeah, because like.
Well, I do, but
yes,
it doesn't come out of that $200 a month payment.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, so I just got the vehicles, the umbrella policy, life insurance is through work. And then
we have a life insurance policy at work if I die on the job.
Oh, I get paid extra. So like if I get my arm cut off at work, I get paid out like 6x.
But you have to die?
No. It's like an accident and dismemberment insurance. It's like $3 a year. But like if I cut my arm off, I get paid out like 6x of what the value is.
Huh. And
then insurance, life insurance isn't like it's not anything crazy, but it's just like it's free, so it's just.
Yeah,
but if I die, it's not my problem.
But ours, I mean, you're not wrong. Ours only applies to at work acts, and it's only like it might be enough to bury me.
No, mine's a full year salary.
No, mine. So I have a $1 million policy on myself.
Nice.
That I pay.
I don't have kids, so that's
Well, I didn't have one until I had a kid.
Yeah.
So
I got. Yeah, basically it's one full year salary. So if I die, Jess gets that, which should be plenty. She'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll be more than fine.
She'll be fine.
It'll be the best day of her life.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
It'll be better than the day she married you.
Oh, for sure. Her next husband's gonna be so handsome and rich.
Oh, for sure, dude. What a lucky gal.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine what she would upgrade to. She'd be way better off.
I missed that. I should have. I sometimes I wish I wouldn't have canceled. So I used to have. It wasn't Aflac, but it was like Aflac.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I wish I wouldn't have canceled that.
Yeah, because it paid out every time you got hurt.
So this is a complete aside, but whatever. I fell off a roof at work years ago. Yep. You remember that?
I remember.
Pre-podcast, but Robbie and I were still friends at that time. I fell off the roof and I broke my foot. And so obviously it's workman's comp. So they paid for everything. They paid for my ER visit. They paid for all that stuff. They paid for my physical therapy. They paid for everything. And then this like Aflac type insurance also paid me out.
Yep.
And so I got like, I don't remember what it was.
It was not a small number.
No, by the time it was all said and done, because I got paid, it was like I was doing 2 physical therapy appointments a week for like 6 weeks, and it was $120 every time I went.
Jeez.
I was making $240 a week on just to go to my physical therapy appointments.
Yeah, that more than paid for itself. I
Yeah.
remember you hurt yourself
And
skating.
no,
one time.
it was total. It was like almost $7,000.
Oof.
It's what allowed me to buy my house, straight up.
Yeah, yeah.
At 100%, it's what allowed me to buy my house because it covered my closing costs and all that shit. I didn't have to find that money.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's how because that was the year I bought my house. That's how I did it.
I think I do that.
I told my old CEO guy, because I worked for a small company. He was CEO as his title, but like I talked to him all the time, you know.
Yep.
But I told him I was going to start falling off a building once a year because it was too good of money.
It's financially irresponsible not to.
The amount of pain it causes me is way less than the amount of like financial gain I made on it. And he was like, if it becomes a pattern, it will become a problem. And I was like, you can't prove anything.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah, I have a dangerous job. What do you want from me?
That actually is true.
So.
Oh, I just realized that this is the part of the story I always seem to forget. Jess was fine.
Oh. I think you did say that she was okay when the police got there.
She cracked a rib, but she was, other than that, totally fine.
Right. She say she had like a really bad cough for a while because of the airbag bullshit? I think she just said something about that.
It lasted probably into the next week.
Right, for a few days.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, yeah, that airbag stuff gets in your lungs and shit. It's not
I've never had an airbag deploy.
No, I've never breathed it in. I know Dalton said it was pretty awful, and Jess agreed, but
that's right. The Camaro.
Yeah. So and I think hers could have been worse because it was just the side curtain and the feet. But I think if the steering wheel one had gone off, that would have been.
I mean, it could have broke her nose.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I feel like would be awful.
She's already broken her nose. Yeah, it'd be awful.
I would much rather break my foot.
I would. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Getting clocked in the nose is awful.
Yep.
Breaking it, I can't imagine. It just must be the worst.
Yep. No, she broke it really bad when she was in college playing softball.
I was going to say, she got hit in the face with a softball, didn't she?
Something like that. It was during a game.
Or kicked sliding into a base or something along those lines.
It was real bad. She had to have like emergency surgery in Florida or something.
Yeah. One of my exes years and years ago got kicked in the face by a horse and
that'll do it.
Just scrambled her face.
Yeah, restart.
Yeah.
Nope, I got kicked on the side of the head, so nothing got scrambled except my brain, of course. But
yeah,
big animals, man, they're scary.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that is all I've been up to. I've done some iRacing while Jess is at work, and that's it. Dealing with insurance, dealing with what's been a very busy work month, and then obviously getting the Z to the point where it's ready for some test and tune stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, then of course the temp sensor went out on the truck in the transmission, and of course that doesn't have a drain plug, so that's kind of a pain in the ass.
It doesn't have a drain plug?
No, the 8-speed transmission. I don't know if all the new Chevys are that way, but the 8 speeds for sure don't have a drain plug. So what you do is you get one of those fluid extractors and you pull it out the tube. So you gotta, or you make a gigantic fucking mess.
Yeah, you just drop the pan.
Right. So I got one of those fluid extractors. So I'm gonna pull the fluid out.
Oh, you haven't done that yet?
No. Well, it didn't fail. It just it's inaccurate.
I thought that you had taken care of that last weekend or the weekend before.
No, because the fluid extractor didn't show up. I ordered it. It was like, it'll be here Friday. I'm like, okay, great. I'll do it Saturday.
Right.
Come Tuesday, it hasn't showed up yet. I was like, just fucking cancel the order. Because they said it was gonna be another 8 days after Tuesday.
So fluid extractor, is that like a?
Yeah. See, so it's got like a.
Does it like hook up to a vacuum or like?
No, I didn't. I didn't buy the vacuum one. I bought the.
Do you have there's a little shake weight thing in it?
No.
Oh, that's how we got fuel out of the.
Yeah, those work.
Or we got fuel out of my fuel tank in my Audi when the fuel pump failed. So good.
Yeah, so it's
Oh, so it's just you pull on the tube. And it creates a vacuum.
So this is the one I tried to order, but it took like 3 weeks to get here. So
that's not cheap.
No, this is cheap. $55 is cheap.
But like
they're all $100.
But like that's not.
I mean, it's
Like, that's kind of a lot of money for a tool that you'll need, hopefully,
not often.
once.
No, I'm sure I'll use it.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I feel like that's kind of a lot of money.
Yeah.
$55.98 and it's 30% off.
Yep, and that's the cheapest one by far.
Yeah.
The one
that's why you never got it.
Yeah, so the one I bought was $100. Yeah, so what happened? So it's like a bicycle pump,
Yeah.
and then you have the tube that goes into your engine or your crankcase or whatever,
Right.
and then you pump it, and then it sucks the fluid out. So it's I know Eric Paulsgraf had one for his Miata that he would suck fluid out the dipstick. I don't remember why he had to do it, but it was that way you could just take the fluid out without dropping the pan. I can't remember why he did it, but so he was the one that told me about these.
Okay.
So then, but in order to do that with the 8 speeds, you'd need one of these if you don't want to just drop the pan. And this is also nice, so that way I know how much fluid I took out.
Oh, okay.
To know how much fluid to put back in, because it's like $15 a quart. So I'm trying not to like waste it because I need to put at least 7 back in.
Right.
But
And you're not going to obviously reuse it.
No, God no, because it's the Chevy 8-speed, so of course you need to like replace that shit regularly because it gets the shudder.
The shudder.
So that's when I kind of felt like something was going wrong because we had that really cold snap when it was like -15 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I feel like my transmission's shifting goofy.
Right.
Like, not harsh or hard, but I was like, I kind of feel like that shudder's starting to come back because it's been a few years since I flushed the fluid.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep an eye on it. And then the check engine light came on, and it gave me the P0700 and P0711 errors, which is basically a communication error with your transmission, which is because your temp sensor is failing.
Okay.
So, and I reset it. Didn't come back right away. I drove it the next day with the transmission temp on my display, so I watched it, and you could see it would fluctuate a little bit, and it would just kind of like had dead spots all the way up. And then most people say, like on the forums I was reading, is that typically they'll end up being like 30 degrees off, which of course screws up its shift logic because if it thinks it's 30 degrees colder than it actually is, it's going to shift differently. So like you could watch that it was not consistent, and it would have like it would go from like arbitrary numbers. So like I take off and it's like we're at 40 degrees, and then it just kind of hovers there for a while, then it jumps to like almost 80 degrees and stays there for a while, and then jumps up. But like so, it's not like a linear path anymore.
Right.
But it's not so far off that you can't drive it. And if you're not driving like an asshole, it's not harshly shifting. It's not like, but you can kind of feel like when you're coming to a stop sign that it's just like shifting funny.
It's more notchy than normal.
Yeah. So yeah, luckily, now we got the Bronco, so I can drive the Focus again. But like I'll have this fixed probably by the time this airs. But yeah, so like all you need to do is pull the fluid out. Drop the pan. So is
the pan easily droppable? Because sometimes with 4-wheel drive trucks, that's not such a task, or that's kind of a task.
No, it shouldn't be a problem.
No, okay.
No. There's a couple of YouTube videos that show how to do it. Like walk you through it. It's super easy
because
it's a thing.
They didn't put a cross member in the way or something stupid.
The exhaust kind of is, but like you just use a pry bar and move it over a little bit, pops right down.
Okay.
So yeah, so then it's got like a harness that has the temp sensor on it. So you just replace that harness, and it's like $30. And then, so it's like...
Is there like any internal filters or screens or anything you could do while you're there?
Yeah, so replacing the filter, replacing the temp sensor harness, replacing the gasket, and then the fluid, obviously. So it's like all set. Like even with the pump, I'm like $300 in. So it's not terrible.
Could be worse.
Could be a lot worse.
It's no displacement on demand failure, that's for sure.
That is a fact. But like I was just thinking to myself, like, it's been a few years since before I got the check engine light, and I was like, when I was thinking about like, okay, it's kind of shifting funny again. Maybe I'll just get the fluid flushed again.
Yeah, because that transmission does not have a good reputation.
No, it doesn't fail,
but it's not.
But it's not. People don't like people don't like the way it drives.
Right,
and I get that. And then that fluid develops a shudder in your what's the word I'm looking for? In the thing, I don't know. It develops a shudder in the thing.
It's a technical term.
It's an engineering term.
I'm an engineer. Don't argue with me.
In the torque converter, maybe? That's what I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
Sure.
Does it have one of those?
Sure. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, probably.
Is that still a thing on
Yeah.
8-speed?
Sure. I don't know. But yeah, so I was figured when I get my tires done, I would just have that all done at the same time. But we're not going to make it that far. I'll just do that on my own.
Huh.
So yeah, which again, that's not a big deal, but just shit I'm doing. Plus, it's almost race season. That's coming up faster than you realize.
So, because this is funny to me, the progression of your shitbox life.
Go on.
Because when you first got the Focus, Jess was not, let's say, the biggest fan.
No, she hated it. She thought it was stupid.
Yeah. And then she's like slowly, like when the Edge got fucked, and it's saved her a few times.
Yep.
She's slowly come round to it.
Yep.
And now this time it like really saved your bacon.
Totally bailed.
Because otherwise you would have had to rent a car.
Uh-huh.
And now she's like all in on the shitbox life.
Yep.
And also I think that she's the type of person who, I spent a lot of money on this vehicle and now I don't want to drive it because I don't want to put unnecessarily mileage on it.
No, like the reason we made sure to get the Bronco or replacement quickly is because she's doing travel nursing now.
Yeah.
And by travel I mean within an hour of here for the most part. So she's not just driving in Des Moines anymore. So she really wasn't a fan of driving the Focus an hour both one way to and from work 3 times a week.
Okay.
So that, like, I would have been fine with it. It wouldn't bother me at all.
Yeah. She's a little bit bougie though.
She needs air conditioning, and that's where, like, she's like, it's fine now. I can live with having.
She says she needs air conditioning, but
she's always cold. I don't know.
I've seen her under an electric blanket when it was 85 degrees outside.
I know.
And so I'm not buying that vowel.
Yeah, I know. She would be fine without air conditioning, but
of all the people, her and Josh Fettis don't need air conditioning.
No, it's a luxury you don't need. But yeah.
I don't agree with that statement, Robbie. I am a princess and I need my air conditioning.
But yeah, the Bronco or the Focus bailed her out, and I have, like, under no circumstances moving forward will we ever not have a spare vehicle.
She was, from what I understood, she was almost like dangerously close to being on board buying a second shitbox so that you both have shitboxes.
Oh, yeah. No, having at least 1 or 2 spare shitboxes, absolutely on the table. If E-Man comes through, I will have a second shitbox.
Well, we all know that's not going to happen.
Damn it. Don't put that out there. I need that.
I'm going to float it out there, Robbie. Because
Right,
one of 2 things will happen. Either E-Man has proven that spite will motivate him.
That's true.
Of all people, the Volvo only happened because I said it fucking wouldn't.
You're right.
So of all the people out there that spite, it will motivate. I know we joke about it being the ultimate motivator.
It is.
But it doesn't work on me. But of all the people, E-Man has proven that will motivate him. So one of 2 things will happen. Either you'll end up with shitbox number 2, or
it's his fault that
I can continue to make fun of E-Man for being a terrible person. And frankly, I win either way.
Fair. Yeah, no.
Because I want you to get said shitbox number 2.
Oh, I really do.
Because I'm very interested to see this thing.
Me too.
I don't want to float it out too far into the ether.
No, I don't want to talk about it unless it shows up.
Right. But I desperately want to see one because I've never seen one up close.
No.
And I want to experience it.
Me too.
I think I'm going to love it.
I agreed. So hopefully everything falls into place.
Right.
But yeah, when we were looking at Broncos and it was looking like we weren't going to get.
For the record, it's not a RAV. It's not a 2-door RAV4.
No. We would have just said it. But,
it's not that good.
But yeah, when we were looking for a replacement Bronco, I literally floated the idea. I was like, why don't we just go buy another shitbox with cash?
So what I'm saying is, instead of tagging me in all the shit boxes you guys post on the group, tag Robbie because he's actually looking for them and I'm not.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm not looking. Because
you're looking.
I've already got it.
You're looking. You just said you're looking. Well, we know E-Man is the most unreliable person that we know. And does nothing but lie through his teeth.
He's a liar. The only caveat is it has to be a manual transmission. Well, I will not buy another automatic transmission.
Stop tagging me in these shitboxes. Start tagging Robbie.
It needs to be a manual transmission shitbox. That is the start, like minimum.
Yes.
Eventually, I'll get a small pickup, but that's probably not going to happen right away.
You get a small pickup ship box.
No, I will, but that's not what I'm shopping for at the moment.
That's fair.
So if E-Man comes through, then maybe I'll sell the Focus and get a different ship box so we can have 2 ship boxes.
Do you think Jess would drive the potential ship box?
She's all in on it, dude.
She likes it?
Loves it.
Oh, okay.
I showed it to her. She's like...
I mean, I suppose it makes sense that she would like it.
The reason I didn't buy it sooner or have E-Man go look at it sooner is because we were trying to figure out the Bronco situation first. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy another car for myself.
Well, yeah, but like, what if you needed it? What if you would have been 10 grand upside down on the Bronco, and then, I mean, obviously you're not going to go buy another one.
Yeah, who knows?
You would have had to buy another ship box.
Probably, yeah. Or just eat it, I guess.
And since that dumb lady in Altoona won't answer her Facebook messages,
I guarantee she never sold that car. But yeah, but the reason I didn't buy it or like have E-Man go look at it was because we were trying to wait for that to figure all that situation out. Well, then we had it figured out yesterday. Bronco's in the garage.
Yeah.
So then I'm looking to see if it's still available because E-Man made a comment about it, and then I turned it to Jess and I was like, "What do you think of that?" That's awesome.
Really?
And I was like,
really?
And then I scrolled. I was like, that's the price. She's like, well, what are we doing? I was like, go get it right now. I was like, it's in Ohio. So then I texted him. And I was like, no, it's like, seriously, go get me my car.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So hopefully we have another sight unseen car episode.
Nice.
Or if I don't, it's E-Man's fault.
Which is great. Really.
All right, short show. We've done a show. We've done a show.
Absolutely.
That's all I got going on in my life right now.
So hopefully you learned something.
Yes.
People who are listening.
Hopefully you never have to deal with it.
Between Robbie's totaling vehicles and my buying a bad deal van, now you know what not to do.
Yep.
So don't do it.
Yep. Don't. If I understand, like having insurance is great. But, oh, my God, it fucking sucks having to deal with it.
It's supposed to. It's designed to suck, Robbie. It
sucks.
Because they want you to just accept your lot in life and save them a couple $1,000s.
No. And because we had the shit box, I was in no hurry to accept their offer.
Right.
And I all right, well, even now, 3 weeks later, I still don't have the check. I wasn't in a hurry. I was going to make sure I had the exact value that was fair. And I'm sure most people don't. Most people have one car.
Well, because they have to.
And they need to have that shit.
Like, I could make it work. I could get the Blazer started again if I had to.
Right. But most people don't. So like, they needed that money yesterday.
I mean, the Blazer just needs some air and a tire and a battery, and she's ready to rock.
Yeah, she can drive.
She's old reliable.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would imagine most people would just see the money, like, okay, I can have this tomorrow. I accept.
Yeah, what choice do I have?
Exactly.
Even if it costs me $5,000, it's this has to happen.
Yep, I need to have another car tomorrow.
Right.
So. All right. Hopefully we have more fun, exciting things to talk about next time.
Probably not, though.
Yeah, probably not. We'll catch everybody next week.